go in here, flip around. Going down. Where exactly, I don't remember. I have never played either of those games. I've heard of Riddle of the Sphinx, but I've never played it. There is what appears to be a speaker above my head, but I cannot look at it. Oh, hello. See, that's what I'm talking about. Every now and then. So do I want to go there first, or do I want to see where he came from? Yeah. Now I gotta waste time clicking on that thing to get it to come back. That takes us to another island. But right now we don't need to go there. Oh, yeah. So see, now this is what I was talking about earlier. These are the spy cams. What the hell? There you go. There's a rotator. So this is the rotator in the middle of the lake. This is how we do that. Now see, this is pointing towards... It doesn't point towards what I thought it would point towards. guess we can just look at the dock there. This one, though, if we swap back to this one, I think if we just wait a minute, she is. This is a very specific spy camera. This is spying on Catherine's prison. She will occasionally enter in here, do some stuff, wander out, whatever. That's all that is. This, though, this is that camera in the middle of the lake, and I do not know what we are supposed to be looking at here. There we go. It's like a rotary dial. So that one was looking... That looks like the schoolhouse. That's the fishing pier. How do we get to there? Notice the shadow makes the fish symbol. That's interesting. Because that's the pathway that goes in. So that looks like a dock. It's kind of hard to tell whether that's another dock sitting on the outside or what. But that goes up to the prison there. So, do we need to be looking at that? Do I have to send that one up first? No, get another one. Okay. So, two of the symbols I know. Okay, well, that's one of them. Oh, that's the one in the village. So that would be this one. Okay, So, this combined with the other thing that lowers people down, I guess this is just meant to make it show that we are here. This one there's no pillar. There's not this other symbol. Okay. They just have, these are colors. Right, so I'm guessing then that this must be red, since that's the light. That one is green. This one was blue, or we'll go through this again. These are the 6 colors he was talking about. That one is yellow. Circle you around. That one is orange. So probably your standard Roy G. Biv there. Oh shit. I didn't mean to do that one again, but that's the red one. I think eventually I don't know how many times we need to do that, but eventually we can piss it off and it'll bang against the glass. I don't know if it can break the glass, but I know it does get upset. Okay, that is the questionable one. And that is of course blue. So probably violet then. would be this symbol. You know what? Let's try this one more time. You. Rotate all the way around here. No? No. It's random, I guess. Okay. I think I'll just leave that on. No, it doesn't stay on. Okay. Well, never mind then. So that's given me colors at least. Whatever I need those for. So yeah, I guess we can just summon another cart here. Seem to be done with this island. So the Roy G. Biv, I think those colors also pertain to the final puzzle. Right, yes, because it's a combination of grid location and color. Yeah. Because right now, on my notes here, I've got the whale is associated with the village. It happens to be number 3, and it is the color red. See, I guess when I was younger, I never really understood why I'm looking for certain clues or what the clues are that I'm looking for. But now I think it makes sense because I do know the final puzzle. I don't remember the solution to the final puzzle, but I know what I need to solve it. And yeah, I think we'll save this island. I think we'll call it a stream. Before we go, though, I'll just finish the stream by reading the journal here. It's not too long. But this is Atris's journal, I think. And it's maybe got some clues in it, I don't know. Anyway. They held for more than 30 years, but the corrections I made to Riven have finally failed. The island has resumed the familiar pattern of decay that is the hallmark of my father's work. I must now race to implement this new patch before it's too late. I only hope that my revised theories are sound. Revisions to Riven are completed. There are still a small number of minor adjustments which need to be made, but the basic corrections have been entered and should be working. Something's not right. I've been monitoring the instruments for several hours now, but have thus far observed no change. It's possible I've made an error, though I've checked my entry against my prenotation. I can find no discrepancy. I've not had a rest in nearly 3 days, so it may be that I'm just not seeing it. If the fault is with my foundational assumptions, however, perhaps after a short rest I will see something. Success! It appears that my repairs have been effective after all. The gateway image has become noticeably clearer, and although it is impossible to know this with absolute certainty, the island seems to have quieted itself. Just a few more weeks of work and I should be free, at last, to go there myself and attempt to bring Catherine back. The past 8 months have left me little time to think, to devise a strategy for getting her out of there. I've received no sign from her in all that time. I am afraid that... No, I must assume she is all right, lest my fears undermine my efforts to bring her back. I did not create the Age of Riven. Unlike my father, I have never presumed to have such power, and yet the future of all those who live there has fallen into my hands. So far I've managed to read the page before it turns. The island continues to appear stable, and I would like to believe that I have saved a dying world, but the theories of one individual cannot support the lives of real people indefinitely. I must get everyone off of Riven as soon as possible. The problem now is Gen. I'll never be able to rescue Catherine and relocate the islanders if he is still the man he once was. I haven't seen him in over 30 years, but his history forces me to assume that he is still a threat. His myopic vision to restore the Dunny civilization has left too many innocent cultures dying in its wake, and would continue to do so were he to once again be free of the confines of Riven, or the Fifth Age as he coldly titled it. The universe has been safe from his corruptive influence for the last 33 years because no one has been able to leave that age, the last linking book out of Riven having been lost in the star fissure upon my return to Mist. That was my intention, to maroon my father on Riven by removing all the existing links to other worlds, and since the art of constructing books had long been lost with the fall of the Dunny, he would be trapped there for the remainder of his lifetime and effectively segregated from the countless other worlds that he would have invaded. In effect, that is what we achieved, but the way it fell, however, was no one's ideal. Though the sting of the incident has gradually faded from my memory, the deep pain of the responsibility for what actually came to be has never left me. At the time it all seemed so clear. Gen's destructive path could not be allowed to continue, but it was never my choice that the innocent inhabitants of Riven, who had already suffered so much, would be the ones to pay for it. Enough. To dwell in the past is to die in the present. The situation is not the same as it was then. The knowledge I've acquired in the years since that time has yet to be applied to this problem. I think I have the solution. Why it did not occur to me sooner, I do not know, unless the idea of it had been pushed out with the thought of my sons. Excuse me, I need to have a drink. That's better. A prison book. Many years ago, during a hunting expedition through the ruins of Dunny, I had chanced upon a formula for the most unusual type of book. Unfortunately, due to the fact that my father was then in the habit of confiscating my discoveries, I was forced to leave it behind. Years later, however, as part of my efforts to protect the vulnerable worlds linked to the books in my library, I was pleased to find I could still recall most of the formula, and with little experimentation quickly succeeded in creating one of these devices myself. The procedure is actually quite simple. By altering key lines of text but slightly, in normal linking books connection can be partially severed, such that anyone who attempts to use the book will be permanently trapped in the dark void of the link. That is, unless someone else then uses the book, at which point that person would become trapped and the first person displaced back into the world. This is called foreshadowing and is important to note for later. The technique can be applied to books that have already been written, changes to the original text being so slight anyone who is unfamiliar with the code will be unable to detect them. If indeed my father is not changed, what better bait could there be than a book that appeared to be a link back here to Dunny? Trouble. My nightly analysis of the island's condition has revealed that the tremors have begun again. The pattern, however, is new. The disturbances are the result of the changes I have made. This did not, at first, concern me. However, tremors of this type were one of the possible side effects that I had anticipated during this initial phase of the island's readjustment. Still, in order to verify my assumptions, I decided to calculate again, incorporating the new data. The results were not what I expected. The damage to the understructure is more extensive than I'd realized. I can no longer go to Riven as planned. Catherine, forgive me. I must act while I still have the time. The signs are barely visible, but there's no question that the island's deterioration is accelerating. Total collapse is imminent, unless I can keep ahead, and that is becoming increasingly difficult to do. With every passing moment, I gain a clearer picture of the incredible chaos my father's economy of words has yielded. But it is a dismaying process. The complexity of the problem is overwhelming. There is no end to this. The last few days have all but convinced me that the collapse of Riven is inevitable, and that at best I can only strive to delay it now and hope that at some point the island will become stable enough to risk a rescue attempt. I think I've come up with a way to subdue the tremors. It will require my exclusive attention for at least a month or two, so it may be necessary to discontinue these journal entries for a while. Something truly miraculous has happened. Beyond all conceivable probability, someone has finally found my lost Mist linking book and freed me from this prison. I immediately realized that this could be the solution to my dilemma, and I believe my mysterious benefactor is willing to assist me. I'm still not sure it can work. The logistics of such a scheme are formidable, but the mere fact that it may now be possible for me to continue my repairs to Riven, and yet proceed with my original intent to find Catherine has given me renewed hope. The last few days have left me little time to work out the remaining problems with sending someone else to Riven. It did occur to me, however, that if a way could be found to signal me once Gen had been captured, it would no longer be necessary to take a real linking book to Riven and risk the possibility of inadvertently releasing Gen. The deteriorated state of the gateway image makes the use of a visual signal impossible, but the picture remains a reliable indicator of Riven's condition nonetheless. By measuring and interpreting variations in the noise patterns, I am still able to observe basic changes that occur in the age, even though I cannot see them. The problem is that my instruments can only detect changes that occur on a fundamental level, and it seems unlikely that an individual could affect such an elementary change from within an age. The idea may be foolish. Still, there is a known weakness that may be worth investigating, an anomaly that appears as a rift between two separate systems, the star fissure. But how, or even if, this fact could be exploited, I cannot say. Sending someone to Riven also means that once I receive the signal that they were ready to return, I would have to leave my writing in order to take a real linking book there myself. However, provided my father was safely out of the way, this should take very little time. After that, assuming the island does not incur much damage in my absence, it should then be a relatively simple matter to hold it together long enough for Catherine to return to Riven and evacuate the remaining islanders. Predetermining a signal without knowing the topography of the island may prove to be impossible, but I'm afraid there can be only one answer to the question of whether or not I should send my friend to Riven with a way out. The potential for failure will be greatly diminished if the prison book is all that is taken there. I'm sure my father is expecting me to bring a linking book to Riven. May he not be disappointed. So that's pretty much the whole setup and gimmick of how the game is going to play out. We just need to find a way to send that signal. And solution to that is all the way back at the beginning. So, slowly getting back into this. I'm pleased that I still remember as much as I do, even if it's only vague. I think that that's helping quite a bit. So, I'm going to end this one here, and we'll continue on next week for the stream. Probably is going to take 2 more sessions, I would imagine. I'm not confident I can get this all done next week. So, we'll probably be doing this for a while. But, yeah, it is definitely much more immersive than the first Myst. I think the graphical improvement definitely helped, over the early 90s graphics of the predecessor. This one kind of gives you, like you guys were talking about, more of an atmospheric surrounding to enjoy, an environment to enjoy. And, it's also more lively, something that was definitely missing from the original Myst, is basically just still images. I know the one that I played, obviously had been updated to at least give you night and day cycles and stuff like that, but it was very basic, the very first game. So this one definitely was meant to feel alive, and the later games continue that trend. So anyway, yeah, so thanks for watching, and have a good whatever. I guess I will see you all next week.